you, Dad, I'd still have you. Oh, and then he just launches into space. What is going on, everybody? Critic and the Common Man here with the long-awaited season finale review of... Chris, work your magic there.
That was. I didn't even see that coming. That was good. That was
gets me every episode. Guys, if you have stuck with us through all of the short Invincible season 1 review videos, drop a thumbs up on this video. Give us a subscribe. If you're still with us and not subscribed yet, we always appreciate it. This is your full spoiler warning, everybody. If you have not seen the season finale of Invincible, definitely don't want us to spoil it for you. You want to experience this firsthand. Click off of this, go give it a watch, and then come back and let us know what you think. Chris, I feel like we got some stuff right and some stuff wrong in our predictions. I'm trying to think of kind of like what we had predicted. I still thought that the brain sucker things were going to come back in, but it sounds like those are going to be a season 2. That's a problem that is being left over for season 2.
well, and it also looks like the guy, the astronaut, was on Mars, not here. So
Yeah, I guess he was on. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Or he's on Mars now.
I
don't
think the
exactly
clone
know.
version of, I don't know. I really don't know what to think. I don't remember.
Let me paint a picture for you real quick, dude, because this is what happened to me when I watched the season finale. I got my second COVID vaccine the day before this came out, so Thursday, and it hit me hard. Just like it hit you if you guys have been watching Critic and the Common Man. Chris was out of it for a while when he got that second vaccine. Dude, it was like a full day. Yeah. For me, it was like a solid day that I was fevered. I mean, literally, like thermometer verified, had a fever, just sweating, body aches, the works. You guys, I'm sure, have been through similar stuff. The only thing I got out of bed for on Friday, I like crawled myself downstairs, turned on the TV, and watched the season finale of Invincible. But I was already in a weakened state, both physically and psychologically, and then this show just finished me off, dude. It just finished me off. I don't know why. I guess I should have, but I did not expect this episode to be as emotional as it was.
Yeah, there were a couple points.
I mean, dude, the baseball flashback and how
That's where I got.
Dude, that was messed up.
Yeah.
That was messed up.
Like just the cut where you just see him smiling, missing his front teeth, and then you see him bloodied and missing his front teeth. Just that juxtaposition.
And even Omni-Man being, this Viltrumite on a mission, even he breaks and eventually just gives up
the
on trying
facial
to kill Mark.
expressions in the animation were so good.
I know.
Like, man.
I know. So here we are, the end of season 1. Obviously, big things in the works, guys. If you have been following us on Instagram or just follow a lot of movie content or TV pages on social media, you will know that Invincible has been renewed now for 2 more seasons already. So Amazon has ordered 2 more seasons of Invincible, which obviously is big. But we'll get to that as far as what's coming next for Invincible. Right now, Chris, what'd you think, man? Now that we're at the end, let's talk about this episode first, and then we'll talk about season 1 as a whole. So now that you've watched it, what do you think about this one as a finale episode?
Dude, everything about this is what the finale should have been. It's been back and forth with like action, and then the next episode would be about like the characters, and then action again, and then more about the characters, and it's been this like slow up and down, and then the episode, like 2 episodes before, when Rick gets turned into a robot, it kind of amps up a little bit. And then the episode right after that, when everybody starts finding out that he's invincible, and then Omni-Man starts going on his apeshit stuff, and he gets blasted from space with a satellite.
Yeah.
All of that was ramping it up, and then this episode just skyrocketed. I mean, it was a gradual climb, and I think it was just very well written as far as like a full season. They knew absolutely how to gear it and how to keep our emotions and our attention. And then just the emotional levels that this episode and the one before reached, like you feel bad for Debbie, like when she goes up to her room and she's just bawling her eyes out, and like, what is Mark going to say? Sorry, your dad is an asshole alien.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know, very well written. I'm incredibly impressed with this series. I can only imagine that the animation and the writing is going to continue to get better now that they've got more funding to continue 2 more seasons. So
Well, and it's already written. So remember, this is
Yeah.
a comic book, and it's a comic book that is way ahead of the show. Like, the show is not even close. And again,
Really?
that kind of goes into the, oh, dude, not even close.
well, now I'm kind of curious and I want to buy it.
So that's the thing. So we can kind of jump into it. But so I thought I posted this on our Instagram. Maybe I didn't, but I will. I actually saw a picture, and it was somebody who had the Invincible comic books. And they're not, it wasn't like individual comics, but it was almost like these big dictionary size comic
Yeah,
books.
it's like volumes.
Yeah, dude, we are like a ninth of the way through those books. He put a bookmark where season 1 ended in the like stack of books.
Oh man.
We're not even close.
Okay.
We're not even close. We're like a third of the way done with the first of 3 of those big books he had sitting on his table in
Wow.
that picture. Which I'm torn because now I really want to get those books and just read all of them because there's
Yeah.
a ton of Invincible out there. But then, is the show going to be as good afterwards? Are the comics going to live up to what the show has done?
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
you'd imagine they would, since the show is based off the comics. If you guys have read the Invincible comic series already, leave a comment down below, and try not to spoil anything, please, but leave a comment down below and just let people know if they should go ahead and read the comics or if they should just wait for the show to kind of catch back up if it ever does. Let us know what you think. But we have plenty of content left for Invincible. My big thing is I hope it can continue to be as good as this episode was. And there was a couple things in this episode that kind of... I liked this episode as a whole. I liked it a lot. I actually would say I liked it about as much as I liked the prior episode. I actually thought the prior episode kind of brought a little bit more oomph with it. Although I will say, like, the scenes... Because just so much was happening. It was kind of coming to a climax where all of a sudden, excuse me, the world was finding out about Omni-Man. Robot was doing his story, which was super intense throughout the whole thing. What's the guy's name? Not Invincible, Immortal. The Immortal came back. They were trying to stop Omni-Man. It was a lot of action. This one, it was almost a little... They almost took it a little too far, in my opinion, with...
Now that it's just you and me, viewers, let's talk about just the Critic and removing the common man. Oh, hey, welcome back, man.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. My computer just died on me, but it is back.
On that
so
note, though, we are looking for a replacement for the common man who can actually run a Lenovo laptop.
we're now accepting applications. If you can run a ThinkPad, which 99% of the workforce can, then you are qualified. So we were talking about how I kind of felt like him teaching... Omni-Man teaching Mark a lesson felt like it dragged on a little bit too long. And I still feel that way. I still feel like the dragging him face first through the train was a little bit overkill. I feel like the excessive killing of the innocent civilians was a little overkill. I thought it was necessary. I didn't think it was necessary to go on for quite as long as it did.
Like, you mean, like, the lesson he was trying to teach was fine, but he kept doing it over and over and over. Like, it felt like it was trying to be too gory and not enough about the point of that he was trying to get across.
Yes, like, exactly.
Yeah.
I felt like they made the point, and then he, like, continued to try and make the point by just killing more
I'm gonna
people.
smash you into Mount Everest. Which,
right, it's like, I'm just gonna start destroying the earth now.
I think that was the same
kinda
mountain,
intense.
if I'm not wrong. I think that was the same mountain, which is really sad to think about, that in this episode he has smashed his son through the mountain that they were both overlooking at, and they were both talking about how beautiful it is, and like, just to see that, like, flip where, like, suddenly now he's not acting like the father figure anymore. It was just the whole episode, man. I can't get over it. Like, when I turned it off, I was just, like, in shock.
I know it was hard. It was hard for that to have been it. You wanted more.
Yeah.
I'm already ready for season 2, which is why I'm really fighting the urge to go out and buy those comics.
Yeah, me too.
But you called a very big thing very early on. You said that you thought the Viltrumites were conquerors.
Yeah.
And you said that you thought that they were actually out to kind of
There were
take
hints
over
here and
planets.
there in the way it was written. Like, the biggest one was when he went to the Flaxans, when he invaded their planet and he destroyed it. And he told them, like, I don't think you understand, this planet is not yours to conquer. When he said that, I was like, that is implying some heavy shit.
Yeah, he could have framed that many other ways. That
Right,
didn't
but he
include
chose
him.
his words. And the way he talks is very intelligent. He's a very intelligent Viltrumite. I was going to say human being.
He's a very intelligent Viltrumite. Agreed. So that was obviously the big twist. And I think we all knew it was going to be something along those lines. As far as exactly what it ended up being, we really didn't know. But we knew it was going to be something along those lines. I'm happy with how they wrapped up season 1. I am. I liked this episode a lot too. It was very emotional. It was much more emotional than I thought it was going to be, and very intense. I do think maybe the final fight, or they could have had a little more action going on with Omni-Man, but to be fair, that's kind of what the previous episode took care of. They got the action out of the way with Omni-Man, and now this one was more about him and Mark, he and Mark, focused on the two of them specifically in their relationship. I mean, I feel like...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like Omni-Man, for being as intelligent as he's made out to be, it's kind of a harsh way to just expect Mark to be okay with the fact that, hey, I raised you on this planet, you have all these friends here, your mother is, from this species. Now let's just kill everybody and conquer this planet and make sure they all serve us. I mean, he's got to imagine that his tactics there weren't the best. He probably could have done that a little more sly or peacefully.
Yeah, I think the way that they presented it, the way they wrote this scene for Omni-Man, I think just shows how little he cares about every living thing on this planet. He sees it almost in the way that we might look at like a dog or things that we look under a microscope. Look at under a microscope. Like it's an environment and it's these living things, but he finds himself so much farther above it all that
and the time reference too, he even said, he's like, do you have any idea how long
you
we
will live thousands
and then
of
he
years.
tells him he's like, fine, I'll just kill you and start over. What does he say? How old is Mark? 17
years? What's another
17
years?
Right, what's another 17 years? It's like, god damn, dude, like that's heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that is the thing. Immortality, people's lives, mortal lives would go by in the blink of an eye once you were thousands of years old. The 17 years in comparison to 2,000 is nothing. It's impossible.
But what do you think of the season as a whole?
The season as a whole. I love it. I didn't really know anything about this show going in. I didn't know it was based on a comic. I didn't know how big this was. I didn't know how many voice actors were going to be in this that were easily recognizable. Obviously, my urologist recommended this to me, which was awkward, but part of the straw that eventually made me, go and watch this thing. But the truth is, I'd seen it on Amazon. They did a good job of marketing it, and so I watched it. And dude, this is, honest to God, this might be my favorite show right now. I mean, I'm trying to think of another TV show that I enjoy more than this show, and right now, nothing. Now, I enjoyed The Boys, but I wasn't the biggest. I mean, you guys can go watch our season 2 review of The Boys. Wasn't the biggest fan of The Boys season 2. Didn't really care that much about Umbrella Academy. It was good. Wasn't all that into a lot of the Disney Plus stuff, although I will say The Mandalorian is probably up there too. Emphasis on the shirt. But is this still cool? Like, can we still wear these? I feel like a lot of people bought into the Mandalorian marketing, and like I ended up with a bunch of Mandalorian stuff, and now I'm like, what do I do with it? Is it still cool to wear a Mandalorian shirt?
This is the way.
This is the way. Shout out to our Mandalorian review. If you guys know what that one's from, the little face mask there, drop a like down below. I loved it. I honestly can say that I loved it. And I have not loved a TV show or movie in a while. And I honestly loved this. For an animated show, and this is not technically anime. One of my buddies told me that, he explained to me, and you probably already know this, but I didn't, like, an animated show is only an anime if it's made in Japan. Is that true? Is that like okay, so there you go. So this is not technically an anime, so I'll just say an animated cartoon or TV series. I don't know what the definition of cartoon is either. But for this kind of show to elicit the kind of emotional response for me that it did, absolutely my hat is off. I was blown away. I really love the characters.
He's not
I
wrong.
love the
There's
story.
no hat.
I love the story. I was floored by this, and I cannot wait for season 2. I cannot wait so much that I may actually buy the comics because I'm that impatient about it. So, Gesundheit. I will now pose the same question to you. What did you think of season 1 as a whole?
I mean, like I said, dude, the pacing and the writing was expertly done. I expect
Yeah.
nothing less from the creators of The Walking Dead. Um, they know how to take these fantasy or sci-fi or post-apocalyptic stories, these stories that are set in our world but not our world, and make them still feel human,
Right.
make them feel relatable, and make them feel well paced. And I mean, just expert writing. And the animation itself, I am a huge fan of The Last Airbender because of the fluidity of the animation. There, with this, I can tell that the way it was animated was how can we get it done as quickly as possible while still making it look good. They devoted their attention to the scenes that required it, and the scenes where it was, like when Omni-Man goes looking for Mark, he goes to their house and he is in it, like it's literally him in the same position as he's floating, and he just floats up the screen, but his body doesn't move. Stuff like that kind of pulls me out of it because I've seen better animation, especially in modern day where we have digital, programs that can help us with that. And I studied animation for years,
Right.
before I switched to film, so I already kind of see it with like a pickier
So
mindset.
not to be like a fanboy apologist or whatever, but and I'm honestly posing this question. Do you think that was intentional because it kind of makes it feel more comic booky, or do you think that, like you said, is just could have been done a little bit better? I don't know the answer to that, but I wonder how much of that is we're trying to keep this kind of classic comic book feel, and how much of it is because I
As
know
much
what
as
you're
I
talking about.
love
There's
it,
been a little bit of choppy
where it's like
animation.
the images are static.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if they're doing it on purpose, but I really don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so. It feels like how anime or a lot of cartoons are, where they're just taking advantage of the fact that there doesn't need to be constant motion in the shot.
Right.
Because otherwise you're looking at extra time. You're looking at more hours that needs to go in just to animate a cape flapping better. Things like that.
True.
But it's those little attention to detail moments that makes the animation just that much better, and that's why The Last Airbender, in my opinion, is one of the most amazing animated shows that's out there. But to answer your question, I don't think so. I think it's more of a how can we get it done, because there wasn't enough stylization in the actual show itself to make it feel like it was comic booky. If there were moments where things froze, kind of like in Spider-Verse, if there were moments where it kind of pulled out at that, I don't know, maybe I would buy that a little more. I'm pretty sure it was just a time thing. I think now that they have more of a budget, I think they might hire a few more animators to work on those extra things, which in animation is called the tweenies, the tweens. That it's like in between the major plot frames. So yeah. So I think they might hire more. I don't know. I hope so. I don't think they've started working on the second season, so I think they're probably gonna move forward with more of a budget to help diversify everything else.
Fair enough.
But again, that is just me being picky. The story itself is so good that I can see past that. I don't care. It is, in my opinion, such a good show, and I'm right there with you, man. I can't think of a single show out there right now that I like more. I looked forward to every single Friday watching this.
Yeah, agreed. Let's give our ratings on it, and then let's answer the big question, which is always fun on a finale, especially one where we already know there's been more seasons ordered. So let's give our ratings, and then we'll talk about what's next for Invincible. So I tried to be really careful about giving out these super high ratings because I feel like in 2 years' time, when we look back at this ratings log that we have, shout out to criticinthecommonman.com. Just a little plug. You can go to criticinthecommonman.com, go to our rankings tab, and see the rating of every single piece of content we've ever reviewed on here. It's actually really fun to scroll through. So if you have a few minutes, it's kind of interesting if you like this page.
And you see both our scores and then the average score.
Exactly. Yeah. So you kind of get an idea of what we like, how we come in. It's kind of fun. So go check it out. Criticinthecommonman.com.
And if your opinion is different than ours, you're wrong.
you can just go ahead and back off of that page.
Yeah.
I try to be really careful about giving out these high scores because I do feel like in 2 years' time, when we look back at our scores, it's going to be a little bit hard if we just have a bunch of 10s up there and we say, was that really a
We
10?
have
Was
very
that
few,
really
though.
a 9.5? We have very few out there right now. Very few. I mean, those spots are reserved for the best of the best. But honestly, dude, it's pretty hard for me to watch this show and pick out a lot of things that I don't like. There was some stylistic things that I wasn't a huge fan of, but almost all of them had to do with the color theory in this,
Yeah.
which is totally just a personal thing. It's not at all, you can't really take points away from a show for that. I thought the color theory could have been maybe a little bit better, but I do think it sticks to that. First of all, I'm sure it's the exact colors that were picked in the comic books.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
But that being said, comic books, maybe they could have done a little bit more exciting colors. You know, the Mahler twins are just kind of a very stale blue. Robot was just all one rust color. Eve Adam was just all pink. You know, even Invincible, I don't like yellow all that much. So like for a mostly yellow character, it was just kind of okay. But dude, that's so personal and picky. Honestly, dude, this show came out of nowhere and really, really impressed me. I know that maybe I'm going to get some flack for this for some people. This comes in at a 9.5 for me, dude. And that is up there. That is way up there. But I would say that this was as entertaining as, especially for a TV show, this was as entertaining as any TV show that I've watched. I'm just throwing it out there. It was right up my alley. So I'm going to come out high and I'm going to say 9.5. What about you?
I'm pretty close to that. I have a little other things just from like a critic point of view where I pick out other things. Again, animation could be a little better in my opinion.
Okay.
Some of the acting at times is a little hit and miss with a few of the characters, but most of the time it's pretty solid. I think it's more of the line delivery I think there's just a little directing that needs to get tweaked. But it's hard when you're going, from The Walking Dead, a live action show, and suddenly you're the creators of a show that is completely voice acting. It's completely different actors that are going to be in front of the camera than voice actors in a booth. So I forgive that. I'm going to come in at a 9 because I think everything else is solid. The story is solid. In my opinion, again, the writing is better than a lot of the TV shows that have come out recently. And the story is more compelling than most of those. So I'm coming in at a 9. I can't wait to see what's coming next, honestly.
Let's talk about what's coming next. Now, the show did a pretty good job of hyping you up for what's coming next because it gives you glimpses into some of the things that, some of the storylines that didn't quite wrap up or come full circle that we know are going to be revisited.
By that comet, by the way.
Oh, dude, it's back. The comet is back. I love that. Another shout out, some OG Critic in the Common Man right there. So the things that we know, obviously, we saw Battle Beast, so we know that that's going to come back up. We saw the Mahler twins going back into prison, so you got to imagine that their storyline is not quite done either. I actually really grew to like them as enemies.
The Mahler twins, yeah.
Yeah, they're intelligent, kind of funny, and I like their dynamic. What else? There's the brain sucker things that are on Mars that's going to need to be dealt with. Titan, that guy Titan was fighting this dragon guy at the end there. I mean, and some of those things may not necessarily even really be in the next season. They may have just kind of been hinting at the world needs your help mark. Like we might not watch Titan fight a dragon or whatever. That might not come back up. But
Makes
we do know that
like what is going to become of Titan, now that he's this large.
Now that he's this like mob boss.
They're hinting at pieces of a larger world.
Exactly. Now, what we do know, what we haven't talked about yet, I keep forgetting this happened. We had brought this up. Another thing, along with like the brain sucker things that we said have to come back. Alan is back. Seth Rogen's
I called it. I knew he
which-
was going to be back at the end. I knew
Totally. And I think that was a pretty, like on the Reddit pages and everything, most people were like, okay, he's either going to come back in and save the day or he's going to come back in at the end. Him coming back in and saying, hey, there's a coalition of planets. They're going to fight the Viltrumites. It just is such a good setup for more of this show. Like they're ending with more in front of them than is behind them, which sometimes is not the case. Sometimes, you get through a really good opening season of a show, and then it's all downhill from there. Unfortunately, I don't expect that with this.
Yeah,
I feel like they've.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like they've set themselves up well moving forward.
Yeah. And kind of piggybacking on that, I think the biggest takeaway from this is the fact that Mark stood up to a Viltrumite and lived. That is a big deal because then Omni-Man could have killed him. He almost did.
Right.
But so where did he go? They hinted that he was going somewhere far away. Is he going back to Viltrum?
Well,
Or is
I have
he?
like two trains. I have two trains of thought that kind of are the long game series arc, and I've not read the comics, so I don't know how much of this is completely wrong, right or completely wrong. He either, in my opinion, he either A, went back to Viltrum to warn them that there's a planet that to basically just tell them, I couldn't do it, I failed. Like season 2 is going to open with Omni-Man like approaching this new villain, this like king or president of Viltrum or whatever, this boss, and saying, send someone else to conquer Earth. I couldn't do it. I failed. And they're going to, a Viltrumite doesn't fail. And so, I don't know, something like that happens. Or I think Omni-Man is basically really frustrated right now, and so he's just banishing himself off into deep space somewhere. And then some other Viltrumites are going to come and try to, conquer Earth. And then I think Omni-Man's going to come back, like kind of maybe at the end of season 2, maybe even season 3 timeframe. I think Omni-Man's going to come back from wherever he was and do some sort of big sacrifice fight where he stops these Viltrumites from taking over Earth. Because I don't think Omni-Man can be redeemed, dude. I don't think you can come back from what he's done. I don't think Omni-Man can come back in and fight off some Viltrumites and say, oh, I'm on your side again. Like
he killed thousands of people.
Thousands of people. Yeah. And everyone on Earth knows who he is. So if anything, he's either gone back to Viltrum to warn them that they need to send some other people to go take over Earth, or he's just banished himself and he's going to come back as like an anti-hero where he kind of sacrifices it. You think so?
I think they're trying to make it seem like he's going back to Viltrum, but he's actually, in my opinion, I think he's going to throw a tantrum and he's going to wreck some planets. I think we're going to see him at the beginning of the next one just destroying planet after planet, just taking out his anger.
Damn.
Not sure of what to do next. Like, do I go back to Viltrum, that kind of thing. And then stuff is going to happen on Earth with the brain suckers and stuff, and then he's going to come back, maybe sacrifice himself, or they'll take over him or something. No, we already established that they can't. Whatever.
I think
something along those lines.
I feel like since the brain sucking things didn't come back into play in the first episode, in the last episode, I think we may be overplaying their importance. I think the brain sucker things are not going to be anything moving forward. I think they're done.
I don't know, man.
You think they're coming back in as a bigger role?
When you look at directing something, every shot is intentional, everything. Yeah. Otherwise they take it out. Like movies cut 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour from what they filmed, and they leave in only what is necessary. There is no reason for them to have shown a shot of the astronauts and for us to see that one of them wasn't what we thought he was. There's no reason for us to know that if it wasn't important.
I think if anything, they're going to be maybe an episode or 2 worth of plot in the next season. I don't think they're going to be a bigger thing than that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. And then also it's, what happens now with the new Guardians of the Globe moving forward? Are they going to kind of unite and become a bigger force, become a stronger force? I don't know. But the
Rex
big question,
isn't an asshole now. That's a big thing.
That's a big thing. The big question now is, where did Omni-Man go? And how much of him are we even going to see in season 2? Are they going to just, first thing, episode 1 of season 2, like you said, is him just destroying planets, or him going back to Viltrum and telling them what's going on? I don't know. We're going to find out, hopefully sooner rather than later. It's just such a damn entertaining show, man. There's so little to not like in this, and I feel like anything that we are able to pick out about and not like, we're really getting pretty nitpicky for this, as is evident in our scores. What else, man? You got anything else for season 1 of Invincible?
I don't. I think a show that is just this good is going to continue to be.
I like it. Nice. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Leave a comment down below. Let's start the discussion. What did you guys think of season 1 of Invincible? What do you think is going to happen next? Please, no spoilers in the comment section. We have not read the comics. Neither has anybody else. You don't be that guy or girl. That's it. Although I swear to you, dude, I am going to see if I can buy those comics.
I'm going to look into it too.
I might look into it. All right, guys, that's it. Season 1 of Invincible in the books. If you guys were with us this whole time, you watched every episode, drop a like down below. If this is your first time finding Critic in the Common Man, go back and look through some of our other content. We got some pretty funny reviews out there. Movies, TV shows, short films, trailers, video game trailers, you name it. We appreciate a subscribe. The channel's growing slowly but surely. We got to come up with a name for like our followers, man. I feel like when you hit around 50 followers, it's
the CCs,
the commoners.
The credit cards.
The commoners are the credit cards. Oh boy, we'll think of something. Don't worry. Leave us a suggestion down in the comments below. All right, Chris. Season 1 of Invincible. We are out of here. See you, everybody.